Hey, I'm Gareth from Park Cameras, and today we're going to run through 5 tips to help improve your autumn photography. So, let's run the autumnal B-rolls. So tip number 1 is to vary your shots. Now, one thing I love about autumn is how varied the weather can be. So for example, while I'm shooting this right now, it's really sunny. It's actually quite warm outside, it's really nice. But yesterday, it was really cloudy, it was really moody. Last night and this morning, it was super foggy. It was really misty everywhere. So you can get such a variety of different types of weather from day to day, sometimes in the same day. And that's such a big advantage to being able to shoot in autumn, because obviously you've got the colours of the trees, you've got all that changing, you've got all this different weather to try and take advantage of. Now, another thing you can do is go for those wider landscape shots, get those nice wide shots that combine all the different trees, the different colours, things like that, but then come in closer, vary it up, come into just a single leaf, isolate it in the frame, and just capture the different colours, the different textures and things like that. So try and get those wider shots, but also just come in closer for some of the closer shots as well. Just vary that up. Maybe shoot from down low, shooting up so you get the sun coming through the trees. Maybe shoot from up high if you can get a shot like that to try and capture if there's mist on the ground or anything like that. And just think about what looks good in the frame and try and capture as many different angles and different perspectives as possible. Okay, so tip number 2 is to try and add human interest into the frame. So obviously this isn't always necessary, but sometimes it works with a landscapey shot like with autumn. If you've got a path running down with trees coming over the top, maybe just have a shot with a person walking down that path. It just adds something to the frame, it just fills it out and just finishes off the picture. You can also have a picture of someone playing with the leaves. If you have a child kicking the leaves, that can always look really good. But anything where you can add just a little bit of human interaction or a human touch to the picture can really help to finish off the frame, finish off the style you're going for, and just take it to that next level. Even if you've got someone and they're really small in the frame, so you've got a really wide shot and they're just tiny in that frame, it can just add a little bit to it. It can add a bit of scale, add a bit of context, and it just finishes off the shot. Tip number 3 is to scout out locations. So I do this all the time. When I'm driving, when I'm on my way to work, when I'm on my way back from work, I'll see a place and I'll suddenly see a tree that looks like it's turning, and I'll think, huh, and I'll maybe even stop the car, and I'll go and have a look and kind of scout it out. Okay, well, when the sun comes down, it's gonna be over there. How is this gonna play out? I'll wait for the tree to turn, and then I'll get there for sunset. And it makes a big difference to the kind of shots you're gonna be able to get, because you're gonna know ahead of time where to go, so you're not gonna struggle. So when it's misty, when you wake up and it's misty, you can just go straight to this one spot. When it's nice, it's going to sunset, you can go straight to this other spot. And actually what you'll end up with is a number of spots around you that are really great for this kind of thing. Okay, so tip number 4 is to check sunset times and spots and to use it to your advantage. So golf now is always a great time to shoot, no matter the time of year, but in autumn, it can really take on a whole different level of awesomeness because the leaves have gone golden, orange, red, brown. Gold now just brings that out, just accentuates the whole thing. You also seem to get these incredible sunsets where it almost looks like the sky is just on fire, just lights up all these clouds, everything's orange, the sky goes this incredible color. But there's something to be aware of here. So the sun is setting so much earlier, so you need to be aware of the time of sunset so you can get there a bit early and plan out where you're going to shoot from. And you also need to be aware that the sun is going to set in a slightly different place to where it was setting in summer. Now, I've been caught out here before where I know where it sets in summer, so I'm expecting it to set in a pretty similar place, and it actually sets on a completely different kind of area and completely changes the kind of shot that I was going for. So it's something to really watch out for. Try and nail that sunset time and be aware of where it's going to set, because things have changed since summer. The other thing in autumn that's really good about the sun is that sunrise is so much more reasonable. It's such a doable proposition now, because in summer it's so early that only the most hardcore of us go out and shoot it. Whereas in autumn, it's like 7 AM now. So that's very reasonable. I can get up for 7 AM and go and shoot some sunrises in different places. But again, you want to be aware that if you have shot sunrise in the summer, it's probably going to be in a slightly different place, different timings obviously, so you just need to be aware of how that's going to work and how it's going to play into the kind of shot that you want to get. Now tip number 5 is HSL. Now if you're not familiar with HSL, it stands for hue, saturation and luminance, and it can make a huge difference to your photos. Now this all comes down to editing, so obviously when you get home. But in things like Lightroom and Photoshop and other editing software, you can use hue, saturation and luminance to really change things up. So if you've got some trees that are just turning, but they look a bit brown, and you want them to look golden, you want them to look red, you can change the hue in post just enough to bring out that red, that golden look, that orange. You can just accentuate it a little bit. Now, hue, saturation, and luminance can just affect your picture in such a great way to bring out the best, just to bring out those colors, just to pull them out from where they were. I mean, you would add contrast, saturation anyway for raw files, I would imagine. So why not just play with them a little bit more? I think it can make an excellent end photo. So those are our 5 tips for shooting autumn photography. There's plenty more tips that you could use. I'd love to hear some. If you've got any, to pop them down in the comments. Any questions, pop them down there as well. If you like the video, hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.